is because I want to tell you a funny story, but also there's a lot of information in there that you can use to then take action to create the life of your dreams. So, some of you know, some of you may not know, that when I was in hospital back in 2011, laying there with zero brain activity, in a coma, literally at the end of my life, where doctors planned to pull the plug on my life support machine, obviously I did wake up, and yeah, not long after waking up, I was obviously in the intensive care unit by myself, and then I kept getting changed, different wards, etc. And I believe it was when I was in the critical care ward, still by myself, one morning my grandparents, they come with my mum, and I'm laying there, obviously, all rigged up. I had wires in me, I had tubes down my throat still, I had wires in my arms, pads all over my chest, etc. And my grandparents were sat there, and so was my mum, and obviously I couldn't speak at that moment in time. So I used to have to give myself this wooden board, and I used to have to point at the wooden board with the letters and explain to my parents or the doctors what I wanted to say, because obviously I couldn't speak. And my mum said to me, "Oh, you have something to say?" And I nodded my head, and she held up the board, and I started to point at the letters S-H-I-T, shit. And my mum saying, like, "Why are you being rude?" Because when I was in hospital, I was a little bit loco, and I used to swear at people for no reason at all. So at this moment in time, I'm pointing at the letters shit, and my mum's going, "Why are you being so rude?" And then my grandparents clocked on, and my nan said, "I think he needs the toilet." So I started nodding my head, yes, I need the toilet, obviously. So my mum said, "I'm going to go and get the nurse," and my grandparents said they're going to go and get some coffees. So off they went, and then I saw the nurse obviously preparing the commode or whatever even it is, or just a bucket, so I can take a shit in a bucket, basically. And I'm laying there and I'm really desperate, you know. I was so desperate, I start panicking and I start pressing the emergency button. So now I'm pressing the emergency button on the bed because I was that desperate for a shit. And this lady kept walking past and smiling at me, and I'm thinking, they're just ignoring me. They don't care about me. They're not doing what I want. Like, I want them to help me go to the toilet because I don't know how to do this. And then, as I'm sort of laying there on my bed with all these tubes rigged in me, I said, right, I'm so desperate for a shit. If she ignores me once more and just walks past the doorway, I'm going to take myself to the toilet. I didn't even know where the toilet was. So she comes past one more time and she walks by and just goes and smiles at me, and I thought, right, that's it. So bearing in mind that I hadn't been walking for weeks and I didn't know my own abilities at that point in time, so what did I do? I grabbed my left leg and I pulled it and pushed it off the bed, and I grabbed my right leg and I done the same, and both of my legs were hanging off, and I used all of my force and I pushed myself up and off the bed, and I just fell flat on my face. Bearing in mind I'm laying there in the end of life ward or whatever it is, or critical care ward, with a tube in my throat, needles all in my arms, pads all over my chest, and now I've just fallen off the side of the bed, and I'm hanging there literally from my neck with a tube hanging out of my neck, and I'm getting choked almost by my own tube, and I've got all these wires that have just come out and blood everywhere. And this guy walked past, it was one of the doctors, and he saw me laying on the floor and he picked me back up, and he's like, "What the fuck had just happened?" So then, long story short, my mum, she literally come back just after it happened, and she saw my face, and her eyes just couldn't believe it. Like, they literally couldn't believe what had happened. So the doctors come and they sort of push the things around me, and they just carried on, and they helped fix me. Obviously, they put all the tube back in. So why am I telling you this story? Like, it's a long story, but why am I telling you this story? So the reason I'm telling you this story is because when do we take action in our lives? Like, when is it that we really push ourselves to take uncomfortable action or to do anything? You know, it's when the thing that we want is worth it, you know? it has to be worth it. Whatever it is, it has to be worth it. So when something is worth doing, when we have in our mind that something is worth doing, we're going to do it no matter what. So whatever it is that's worth it in your life, you're going to do no matter the potential pain in the moment or the challenges that you're going to have to go through. So yeah, whatever it is, you're going to push through that pain. And for me, having a shit at the time was worth it. I really needed to go to the toilet. So for me, it was like, I'm going to take myself. They're not helping me out here, so I'm going to take myself to the toilet. So just know that whatever it is that you want to achieve in your life, whether it's a big goal, a little goal, whether it's to change your job, to push yourself out of your comfort zone and speak to somebody new, whatever it is, if you feel in your mind that it's going to be worth it in that moment, you're going to do whatever it is, no matter what the potential momentarily pain is or the potential consequences of doing that thing is, you're going to do it. So I just want to say that you don't have to wait for a painful event to happen to have to do it. You just have to decide that it's actually worth it. So you need to ask yourself the questions. 2 questions here is, what is the potential benefit of doing this thing, whatever this may be, and what is the potential consequence of not doing it? And ask yourself them 2 questions, write it down, journal it, get really clear on both of the answers for those 2 questions, and then take action, whatever it is. You need to take the action. So yeah, I'm just going to end on this. When you're going to potentially put off doing something because of fear of failure or fear of whatever it is, just ask yourself, is this worth it to me? And I'm going to end on this one quote that I made. The moment you realise the pain of staying the same exceeds the pain of change is the exact moment your actions will overcome your anxieties. Because when you realise in here that staying the same is going to be more painful in the long run, you're then going to take the uncomfortable action and you're going to go after what it is that you truly want in your life. So I hope someone can take something from that today, and I look forward to seeing you on the next live.